you might be wondering why it is that we grow wheat in Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, South Dakota versus somewhere out of the east or west coast. And the reason that is because in the plains, if you're in Nebraska, we have what they call a semi-arid climate. And what that means is that we have a happy medium moisture level. We don't get a lot of moisture, but we still get some. And so that's why wheat is able to be produced here.
But as it comes down on here, it'll lay on this draper. This draper will just convey the grain with the head to the center of the machine, which will take it on up into the feeder house so the combine would go ahead and do the thrashing part. All the grain and heads will actually feed in, come up into the feeder house, and the feeder house will actually take the grain and run it into what New Holland has. It's called a twin rotor. So it has opposing rotors that run the length of the combine. And what it actually does is when it goes into the machine, that's where all the thrashing and the rubbing action happens inside the rotors. And as it goes through the rotors, the grain is heavier than the material, and as it's being scattered out, the grain stays out on the outside of the straw, which falls down inside the machine, which has a shaker, shoe, and sieves. And to make it simple, the grain is actually separated from the chaff, separated from the straw, air is blown up through it. The grain is the heaviest material, and it is graded off and it goes up into the grain tank. The other material that comes out the back of the machine is called chaff and straw.
Okay, so here's a little bit of wheat 101. So this is what you see from all of this. Here's a single stalk of wheat. So obviously this part here is the straw. And so from the straw there comes the head, and this is the head. You can see all these little spiky things. These are called the beard. And then when you break it off, if it'll break off. These little things, so we call them white caps when they come through the combine, which we don't want them in our wheat, but sometimes they get there. They're called awns. And then it ends up breaking down into a kernel of wheat. The whole thing here is called a head. So as you can see, all we have are some kernels there. That's something we do when we don't know if the wheat is quite ripe or not, or if we're looking for green wheat, or if it's wet. You see that all these are nice and dry, and they're not shriveled down or anything. You can see that they're dry. If it was wet or green, you could see that it was actually green, or they would be really plump and they'd be really moist and stuff.